head, who is the Ramblin Man?
The Allman Brothers.
I don't know, man.
Singular.
Honestly, I would probably say Willie Nelson, because that dude pretty much lives on that bus, you know?
It's true, he does.
You know, I would
Yeah.
just, that's what comes to my head. Obviously, you think about the Allman Brothers, but I don't know. I would say Willie Nelson.
I can imagine the Ramblin Man looking like Willie Nelson as
Yeah,
well.
he's got the long hair and like the biggest joint you've ever seen, like hanging out his mouth, and he's Willie Nelson. He's got Trigger, and
Like Willie with a huge beard.
it's Willie Nelson covering
Yeah.
Ramblin' Man,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
that's it.
Now, you mentioned Trigger. You have your own guitar as well. It's the beautiful pink one. What's the story behind that? Because wasn't that one of the first guitars you ever
Well,
owned?
I'll tell you about it. So, the pink one was when I was a lot younger. I don't remember the exact age. I'm horrible with dates, but Fender sent me that guitar. They asked what my dream guitar was, and so flashback beyond that. I was a young kid. I had a band called the Blues Buddies with my best friend Roosevelt Twitty, who inspired me to pick up a guitar and play blues, and he would pick me up from school and play me like John Lee Hooker cassettes or Lightnin' Hopkins, or just turn me on to so much good music. And so he and I had a band, and we were playing at Gillies in Dallas one night, opening for Dwight Yoakam.
Right.
So you can imagine, you got a bunch of two-stepper honky-tonk dudes and ladies, and then we come up there and we're playing slow blues after slow blues after slow blues, and they did not have it at all. But there was this one big tall guy in the front named Don Nelson, who was the coach of a basketball team at the time, and an NBA basketball team.
Yeah.
And so he asked what my dream guitar was, and I said a 1960 Fender Stratocaster. And he said, well, why don't you have one? And I said, well, I obviously can't afford one. They're like $25,000 or something like that. And one showed up at my house with a note that said, play the hell out of this.
No.
Done. And so I still own that guitar.
Wow.
It stays at home. But Fender kind of cloned it. And I'm a huge Elvis fan, obviously. We just played
You
an
just
Elvis
played the
song.
Elvis track.
And they made it shell pink like the Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Shakedown was touring. We were on our way from Vancouver to Nashville, which makes a lot of sense. But
We don't have that agent anymore.
we're on our way from Vancouver to Nashville. We're at a hotel for like 3 hours or something. All the guitars get stolen. So my main one got stolen. This was the one that Steven Tyler had written on, and I had taken on tour with Jeff Beck, and so it was traumatizing.
Yes.
It was horrifying. But so now, my old man who works at a factory, he works at Kimberly Clark, the hardest working guy I've ever met. He pulled together and kind of got one for me when mine was stolen, and now that one's even more special because it was a gift from my mom and my dad, and so
Man, that's a great
I
story.
took the pick guard off because someone mailed Graham a pick guard, and I decided it would look good on the pink one, and
So you stole it.
Did.
yeah, and they
I lost it,
They
and
had
then
soldered
it
their
was in
names
his
in the
house.
wood, yeah.
He found it first.
So that's
But
my
it
main
was meant
one.
to be.
But I didn't bring it today actually because
Why?
when we just played in Israel with Guns N' Roses,
Yeah.
and it got messed up in shipping it back. So I have to
Oh.
get it fixed when I get home.
You're joking.
Now that
A
happens.
certain
so.
Italian
don't-
airline.
So can't you just take it?
set
Well, I would always put that in hand luggage, something like that.
Yeah, we
especially after
tried. I mean, the thing is, like, they're not gonna break it for good. It just needs a little love.
Fixing.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
Wow. It is a beautiful guitar. I've seen
Thank
pictures
you.
of it on Instagram, and I was like, oh, it's so gorgeous.
Thank you.
It is indeed. Now, you mentioned, some of the names that you've just mentioned. Jeff Beck, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith. You played with Deep Purple as well, I think, haven't you? There's not many bands that play with bands in that kind of ilk that are unsigned. And I know you've signed now, but at the time you weren't signed, were you? That's pretty impressive.
We've been kind of just working hard, kind of taking any gig that we could get for a long time. I mean, and our first gig was driving from Nashville, Tennessee to Amarillo to play a 30-minute set opening for REO Speedwagon. And then we drove 15 hours back, and we called it the 30 for 30 tour because we drove 30 hours to play for 30 minutes.
We
And
didn't have 30 minutes of music. Like
We
I
didn't.
think
We played a couple
We jammed
covers.
for like 15 minutes. We had a song that you made the lyrics up that night.
Yeah.
We were clueless. It
Yeah,
was
we
awesome.
were. So I remember that. We had that song forever.
We had a song called The Rock Song, and it had no lyrics, and Tyler just scatted. Every verse was like, you know, it was like, it was awesome. It was so great.
We've come a long way.
We've come a long way, but that's the story of this band. It's a relentless band, because we believe in the music that we make, and we believe in rock and roll, and we believe that we have to kind of carry a flag, and so we've done it whenever no one believed in us, and we do it whenever people believe in us, and we've kind of been building our fan base from the ground up, grassroots. And they can trust us, and they can trust the music that we're going to deliver because we put everything we've got into it. We just finished the world tour with Guns N' Roses. Well, we're not finished with it. We're going to South America with them and The Who coming up. And
that's what I mean. There's some incredible names.
And Alice Cooper.
So that's quite. Do you feel it's quite a compliment, isn't it, that you think these guys want to play
it's a
with
tremendous compliment. So that all kind of came to be because we were offered to do 3 shows with ACD. We were out on. This sounds so ridiculous. I can't believe we're even talking about this, but we were out on tour with Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, who's playing tonight.
He's playing tonight. Yeah.
And we got a call from our manager going, "Guys, you need to talk to Billy. You got to leave the tour." And we're going, "Well, what's wrong? Like, what
have we done?
Did we get kicked off?" Because that's also happened before. Well, kind of, but so
We won't go there.
yeah. So we talked to him, in further detail, and he said, "You got 3 shows with AC/DC, and if Angus likes you, you'll get the American tour." And so it was crazy because you guys immediately left, went and rented.
I had to go buy us a new van because we didn't have one that could get us from Nashville to Tacoma, Washington. And then turns out we had to take it anyway because the universe hated us that week. But yeah, Tyler stuck around with Billy for 2 more shows.
I rented a car
you stayed on
and
your own?
toured acoustic with.
He did
with
2
him.
more shows just playing solo.
So like
We went and
the
packed,
obligation.
packed our bags.
We packed
in
all our
Nashville.
gear, and because we were out acoustic, so we had to go get all our amps and the drum set and everything.
We
And
hadn't played electric in 2 months. We'd been out with
It was
Billy,
almost 3 months.
we drove 41 hours in
2 days.
48 hours
Yep.
through 2 different blizzards.
We
Almost died twice.
While he was driving.
3 times. 3 times we almost died.
So
Like, no
we-
joke, like the whole rig went sideways, and
Caleb
somehow
saved us,
we
though.
didn't flip, and we caught.
We're here
and straightened out
because
every
of
time.
me.
Oh, man.
Because he
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
Because he didn't lose complete control of the car. It was great.
So
You'll do anything for
but,
the music.
But meanwhile,
basically.
like we
Got
got
there.
the sweatiest palms because we've been told if Angus likes you, you can carry on, and if he doesn't, then go
See ya.
home. And like if you're a rock band, like how do you take that?
No, that's
it's like
pressure.
sorry, Angus Young
I
thinks
think
you suck.
You'd kind of quit.
You
if
quit.
I
it
was
Probably
so
so
depressed.
if that happened. Which,
I was so depressed, thinking like, what are we gonna do if we get?
We thought
turned
we
down,
didn't get
you
the
know?
tour. We thought we didn't get it because we had been told you'll know by the 2nd show, and we played the 3rd show and we still hadn't heard anything.
still had no idea.
So
You
we
were
had all
joking.
in our minds kind of accepted that we were going home after this, and then literally the stage manager popped his head in and he was like, "Hey, we'll see you guys in Fargo," and it was like,
but still,
Okay.
we didn't get the tour.
so,
That's good.
and so we kind of said, well, like, did we get it? And he goes, I don't know, but just go to Fargo. and so we went, and then we ran into Angus's wife in the hallway, and we're like, have you heard anything? She goes, oh yeah, Angus decided after the first show. Did no one tell you?
Oh my God.
And so then,
No, they did
then
not.
after like show 5 or 6, they asked if we wanted to come to Europe, and they said, well, we've had openers in the past
We're like,
who
"No
have
thanks."
gotten booed off the stage because these fans are really hardcore and they're very intense, and which is true. Some of these
Yeah.
people have seen AC/DC 20 or 30 times,
Yeah.
and we're like, we'll take it. We can. They can throw their bottles. We're ready, man. We want that stage. We want to own it. We want to win it. And then, all of this stuff happened with Brian Johnson, unfortunately, and fortunately for us and our landlords, Axl Rose stepped in, and
Your landlords.
well, yeah, because we're a touring rock and roll band, So then all of a sudden, we were getting new tires and brakes put on our van, and we got a call saying Brian Johnson's not with AC/DC anymore. The tour's canceled. We were heading to Atlanta the next day to play at their big arena or whatever it is.
Right.
And so then Axl Rose stepped in and
Save the day.
He saved the day, and
Which is how you ended up
Which is
being
how
on the
we
Guns
ended
N'
up with
Roses
Guns,
tour.
yeah.
Yeah.
We heard after the first European show in Lisbon, Portugal, from our manager, he goes, "Hey, Axel likes you." We're like, "Really? Who said that?"
That was it.
Axel said that. Oh, okay.
So
Well,
we
I'll never
actually
forget-
we met Axel in London on that tour, and the great thing was we went back to his dressing room. It was the first time we actually met him in person, and he was like, "I like you guys, man. You're the first opening band that I haven't had to ignore." And so we were like, "All right, right on." And we were like, "That's a good thing, right?" Yeah, okay, cool. And then here we are. We've done, I don't know, 15, 20, 18, I don't know how many shows with Guns, and
12? Something
No,
like
more
that.
than that.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
He was like, "How would you like to come play with my band?" And we was like, "You mean like Guns?"
Guns N'
Like,
Roses, yeah.
Sure, that'd be sick.
So have you joined them on stage?
No, we haven't
No.
joined him on stage. That'd be great though. We would like to join you guys on stage.
I don't know.
If
how
you're
sa-
watching.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this may seem like a silly question, but what do you learn from being with bands like that? I mean,
I think
Everything.
with,
Everything.
with AC/DC,
Yeah.
we learned that simplicity is key for it's some of the simplest riffs are what gets people going like this, and I don't know. I think that it's definitely influenced our songwriting.
Yeah.
Kind of hearing these songs that reach thousands and thousands of people, because there's a lot less to them than you would think, and it kind of takes you back to the basics a little bit of what rock and roll really is, So
yeah, they're certainly up there, aren't they?
also
It's
we
not-
learned a lot about just performing on that level. I remember the first show we did in Europe was in Lisbon, Portugal, and I had like a 20-foot guitar cable, and the stage is so massive. It's like, dude, you need to get a wireless system because you can't reach everybody. It's
Yeah.
simple things like that where we're just kind of going like, okay, dummy, wake up.
Yeah, we're in the next league now.
Yeah, we're playing with the big boys now. We gotta step it up.
It's
Yeah.
funny though, because like when we did that first show with AC/DC, like we said, we hadn't played in almost 3 months as far as full electric goes, and so I think it took us a handful of shows to kind of get back into it, and then, for us, I mean, in a way, it was like going to school, and so we would go out every single night. We wouldn't miss the downbeat of AC/DC. We watched the whole show every single night, and so we were constantly learning, and learning how to put a set list together, learning how to transition between songs, like little things like that most people wouldn't notice, but just like how to really perform and put on a show. Like we're on stages that we've never been on before, and going like, all right, we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like you got to go.
Yeah.
And then we got to Europe, and it was a whole nother thing. With 4 times an arena size, and so it was kind of a whole nother learning curve that we were doing, and here we are now back in Europe, and obviously grateful for those experiences.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.